So I guess that's the benefit of having a T-Rex as a pet, as dangerous as it may be. But anyways, in this video, I'm going to be unboxing and testing out some Auxbeam RGB 8-gang multifunction switch panels. These things are pretty neat and I can't wait to try them out. In full disclosure, guys, Auxbeam did send me this one right here. This is the XL series. However, they are not paying me other than the free product to make this video, and they have no say or control on what I say in the video. So if it's not very good, I'm gonna let you guys know. However, before they reached out and wanted to send me this one for testing, I had already got this one, and these are a little bit different. However, they are also very similar. This one, the control panel itself is a little bit smaller, but it has Bluetooth and connects to an app where you can control it and change the settings. However, this one, the XL series, does not have Bluetooth, but the physical controller is actually a little bit bigger and it has bigger buttons, so it's a little bit easier to press. It's pretty cool. They have a bunch of different switch panels that have like different price points and do different things, and I think they have a 6-button one and then the 8-button one as well. And both of these switch panels are multifunction, so you can actually change what the buttons do. You can make it a normal toggle on off switch, or you can turn it into a momentary push button. And there's also a pulsed mode. So it's pretty cool. You can program them to however you want. So a few of the specifications, you can run 60 amps through this thing. They work on 12 and 24 volt, which is great for like diesel trucks and stuff like that. And they have different wattage ratings depending on the voltage. So you can still run the full 60 amps even if you're on 24 volt, which is pretty cool. It's supposedly waterproof. And the dimming on the panel is auto sensing. So I'm hoping it'll get dark enough, because sometimes like different stereos and stuff, they don't get dark enough when you're driving, and it kind of blinds you a little bit at night, and it's kind of hard to see the road, or it's kind of distracting at the very least. And it's got the operating temperature and the 3 lighting modes. So anyways, let's go ahead and unbox this one right here, the XL series. In the box, we got some instructions, a big old Auxbeam sticker, and we got all of the different button stickers that you can customize it with. There are quite a few. However, I wish it came with a bit more than just this, believe it or not. There's a lot of potential things that you could be using this for. In here we have the switch assembly, or the control box, whatever you want to call it. And this basically does all of the switching. And a lot of the cheaper ones actually use relays, but this is all solid state. So I'm assuming there's MOSFET transistors under there, and that does all this switching. And supposedly they should last a lot longer than relays. However, with the relays, if one goes bad, you can just swap it out. With this, you can't exactly do that. Hopefully it will last a very long time. We will see. But it definitely makes it quite a bit more waterproof. And in here we have fuses and a little fuse puller, so it's kind of handy. And then we have a 60 amp circuit breaker. It's pretty cool. Definitely handy, so you don't have to have a big fuse. You can always just reset it. And it has a nice clear cover on there. Here is the switch panel itself. This is the part that goes in the vehicle. And then down here we have whole bunch of zip ties, and we got the big thick battery cables that can push 60 amps, and they look long enough to be able to find a place to install that under the hood. And this is the communication and power line for the switch panel, and it's pretty cool because basically this is all that has to go through your firewall, and that's what makes this whole setup pretty sweet. So you don't have to mess with a ton of switches on the inside with wires that have to go through the firewall, and you have a whole bunch of them. Wire is probably power, a ground, and 2 communication lines. And then there's another wire. This is the remote turn on. So basically when the vehicle's off, it tells everything to power down, kind of like a subwoofer amplifier if you've ever installed audio equipment. And here's the flat bracket for the switch panel. And we got a bigger swivel bracket for the switch panel. It's kind of cool. You got two options there. And it's got a little Phillips screwdriver, probably for all those terminals under here. And it also comes with a fuse tap for the remote turn on. So definitely makes it a lot easier, so you don't have to actually splice and crimp into your factory wire harness. And then in here we have all of the hardware. So it's got the mounting brackets underneath. And these are the big ones for the switch assembly. A flat one and a sideways one. The smaller Bluetooth version pretty much is exactly the same, except here's the size difference. And you can see that this one is quite a bit bigger, and I'm almost wondering if they had a lot of complaints, like people wanted bigger buttons, like maybe it was harder to find these when you're driving, or they may just have a bunch of different ones available depending on what you want. Also, the brackets are obviously different sizes for the control panels, but the switch assemblies actually look to be exactly the same. They just have a different sticker on there. The XL came with a screwdriver. Also, it may be because this kit is a lot newer. I bought this one long before they sent me this one. I just never had a chance to really go through it. And of course, the stickers are pretty much all the same. These ones are just bigger to match the bigger control panel. Also, in the box of this one, it has QR codes to download the app, one for iOS and one for Android. And one thing I'll mention really quick, on both of these, the housing on the switch panel is actually aluminum. Here's the instructions for the XL. Basic stuff like what's included, the features. It explains the automatic dimming, and I definitely want to test that out. It tells you how to stick on the stickers. Definitely want to clean it beforehand. And it tells you about the mounting the control box. And here's a basic wiring diagram of the whole thing. And then it explains the circuits. You got two 30 amps, two 20s, two 10s, and two 5s. And when you add all those together, it's way over 60. However, I guess the idea is that you're not going to be using all four of them at once. Then it shows you how to install it. And then it shows you how to program the lighting modes and change the background color. The smaller Bluetooth version is basically the same thing, except it shows you about all the app controls. But now let's go ahead and set one of these up on the bench. Pretty much have everything hooked up, and this is just temporary. I have my power supply set around 12 volts going into the main power leads. This would normally be the thick cables that go to your battery and the circuit breaker, but we just have a lot of different items kind of on alligator clips just for testing, hooked up to all the different channels. We got an air compressor, a horn, a big light bar, a little light bar, and some ambient LEDs. So let's go ahead and supply 12 volts, and nothing happens. And that is because we have to apply voltage to the remote turn on lead. And actually, that's good that it's pulling 0 amps, because we don't want any kind of parasitic draw when this thing is not powered on. But this would basically go to a switched power source that only gets voltage when the key is turned, like a cigarette lighter or something like that. We can go ahead and apply power, and it has powered on. And without any of the accessories switched on, we're only pushing about 0.04 amps. It's basically just powering the LEDs on the switch panel. The first thing we'll check is the auto dimming feature, because you don't want to be blinded when that is too bright. And I have my phone on manual exposure, so let's turn out the lights, see if it dims down. It's getting dimmer, takes a little bit, it's getting dimmer. Nice, that gets pretty darn dim. Pretty happy with that. We'll have to see how it is when I'm actually driving, but that is pretty cool that you don't even have to worry about it. It just automatically dims to the brightness you need. Turn that back on, and it looks like it should be getting brighter. There it goes. Slowly. Even without the Bluetooth, this thing is pretty easy to program. And to change the light colors, you just hold down the middle on-off button with any one of the switches, and that little light lights up. And then you just hold either this one or that one, and it should scroll through the different colors. There you go. It's slowly changing, which is what you want. You don't want it to go super fast. It went pretty quick through that red. Back to blue, There we go. My favorite color is red, so I'll just leave it there. It's only one wire that has to go through the firewall, unless you want the remote turn on lead going to the inside fuse panel. And then you have all of that outside. So let's just start pushing buttons. And of course I mixed up these two wires. And these are basically just the clamp terminals, and you use that screwdriver. And there's actually these things called ferrules, I believe. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but there's like a special tool, and it gives them like a little sheathing, and so the strands aren't kind of just hanging out everywhere. I'll use that in the actual install. For now, I'll just switch these around. And we're back. I actually just changed the colors because the indicator light is red, so it's kind of hard to see. And when it's dimmed down, you can see that amperage goes way down. So it's mainly the LEDs that are pulling the current. Anyways, let's try that again. And there's the big light bar. It's powered on. You can see the on-off switch is indicated by red. And channel 2 is the little light bar. And this one, that's my little air compressor. And this one, so that's the horn. And we're gonna wanna switch that to momentary mode. I mean, unless you wanna have it on and off. So to do that, it's really easy. All you have to do is push the center button twice, 1, 2, and see, they're all blinking, and you just push one. And blue is momentary mode. And let's switch the little light bar to green, which is pulse mode, so we can check that out. And I don't think I have anything on these channels. And then this last one, a little 5 amp, is the ambient LEDs. Check that out, it's pretty cool. And we'll go ahead and switch that off. Now let's check out the pulse mode. I honestly don't think I would ever use this, but if that's something you need, it's there. I mainly just want the on-off and the momentary switch. And honestly, I can't think of anything else that I would need for momentary mode. Let's test it out. Ah, it's loud. And besides a horn, if you have any ideas of what else you could use on a vehicle with a momentary switch, let me know. Also, if we turn some stuff on, we can turn it all off at once, just the middle on-off switch, and then it kind of remembers what you had on if you want to push it again. So if we just go to that one and hit the center switch, it just remembers just that one. But now let's go ahead and try out the smaller one with Bluetooth, and I'm just gonna swap these out. They look exactly the same. I hope they are, but we'll find out. All right, let's go ahead and power on the Bluetooth version, and this one works as well. You don't actually have to use the app to change all the settings on the Bluetooth version. It works exactly the same as the other one. Double click it, and I believe this one, we want it pulsed, and this one is momentary mode. Both of the switch assemblies appear to be exactly the same because it works just like the other one. It's so loud. And of course you can change the colors just like the other one. And of course we'll make sure it dims properly. There it goes, slowly but surely. Not bad. Also, one thing to mention is that all of these fuses have a little LED indicator that turns on when the fuse blows. The LED doesn't power on until there's a load on the circuit and you switch it on. It's definitely handy so you don't have to like pull the fuse out to check it. But it also doesn't stay on when you power off the system, so there's no parasitic draw. Okay, now let's test out the Bluetooth app. I already have it downloaded. It's called Switch Panel. We'll open it up, tap on the Bluetooth icon up here. Connects really easily. I haven't had any problems with it. I've been testing this out before. And on the first menu, we can adjust the color. Just move on the color wheel around. And we can also adjust the brightness right from here. And it's got preset colors down below. And then the next menu is the icon menu. And this is just where you set up your virtual icons. And this is why I wish it had more stickers. Like, look at all the icons that are available. It's quite a lot compared to the stickers it comes with. Oh yeah, beer right there. It's got a beer icon. It's kind of cool. But anyways, I'm just gonna set the virtual icons up really quick with what we have on here. So now we got all the virtual icons set up. You can also name them and put your own photos in them too, I guess, if you want to. On the next menu, we have mode, and this is where you can just change the modes through the app. Oh, that's cool. You can actually change the amount of pulse down below. We'll leave that there and then go to strobe, and we'll turn it up. And you actually control it in the color section. So we'll go back here, and it's a lot faster. That's pretty cool. Let's see if we can adjust it real time. Yeah, it looks like we can. That's pretty neat. You can make it super slow, super fast. Go ahead and turn that off before I get a seizure. It's pretty straightforward. Instead of a color, it just has like a position on which position. The middle is momentary, the right is pulsed, and the left is toggle. Little amber dots below each icon. Then we'll go to the group settings. I guess this is just where you group like different buttons together. So if you like group 3 together, if you just hit any one of the 3, all of them turn on, I'm assuming. I might play with that later down the road. But now back to the color section where you can actually control it. Turn the light bar on. And it's pretty cool that you can just do it right through the app. I'm not sure exactly what the range is, but I'm assuming it's like kind of any other Bluetooth device. I accidentally put 2 strobes on here. This one should be air compressor. There we go. Just change that really quick. Not that it really matters, but power the air compressor on. That's pretty cool. If you like have an air compressor, you can just power on and off through the app, like when you're out of the vehicle. As long as the range goes that far, that's pretty neat. It's got the horn, momentary mode, and then the underglow. So yeah, that is pretty trick to be able to use it and control everything right from the app. I don't know if it's super necessary for everyone, but if you have a specific use for it, then that is definitely the way to go. Also, since both control panels are interchangeable between each switch assembly, I'm almost wondering if you could get a splitter and then have basically 2 switch panels where you can control 1 switch box with 2 of these switch panels just through a splitter. And I think that would be pretty useful, like if you had a camper or something like that. And I haven't looked on their website, but I think they sell a version that actually comes with 2 switch panels because it's got a checkbox for 1 switch panel and 2 switch panels on the box. So that would be pretty useful, like say in a camper van where you want to control everything inside, like the water pump, interior lights and everything. So you have 1 switch panel where you first enter the van, and then you have another one like right next to the bed so you can like turn lights off when it's time to go to sleep. And I think that would be a pretty cool use for something like that. So I decided I will be installing the XL in the 4Runner, and the one thing that might be kind of tricky is finding exactly where you want to put it. You might be able to put it over here, but it's kind of hard to see. The steering wheel in the way, and it's going to be in the way if you just put it on the dashboard. And there's not a whole lot of places. However, I found the coolest place to put this, and this is my sunglasses case, and I usually leave my sunglasses in there. However, I could always put them down here in this storage bin, but it looks like I'll be able to remove this lid. It looks like it just has some pins that pull out, and it can take it off. And then I'm gonna use the adjustable bracket to install it up in here. And that'll be really cool to have all the switches up here on the roof console. Be almost like an airplane or something. I'll just save the pins in this. If I ever want to reinstall it, it's not a big deal. It'll just have a couple holes right up there. But I believe we can pull this whole thing off and then install it. and we'll just run the control wire under the headlining, down the A-pillar, and through the firewall. And then the smaller Bluetooth version, I'm going to install in the van. I think it'd be a lot more useful there. And I'm gonna use it to control everything on the outside. Like I'm gonna put some rock lights on it and a bunch of LED light bars, some backup lights. And I think I'm gonna put an air compressor on there. And why not put an air horn if you have an air compressor? So I think that will be pretty cool. It's gonna be a while until I install that on the van. However, I'm pretty much ready to install the XL version on the 4Runner. And I'm super excited because I have not had any light bars on my four-wheel vehicles yet. I do have a little light bar on my bike, but I'm super excited to try out some light bars and the switch panel. It's gonna look really cool on the roof console. But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I will definitely put these switch panels and some other ones down in the description below if you wanna go check them out. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you next time. Peace out.